Hello, my gamers in Christ. How are we doing today? Today is the date of January 21st of 2026. How are we doing today? Hopefully we are doing well. Unfortunately, my medicine prescription has still not come in, so kind of tired today. Kind of tired. But that does not mean we are not going to bring you guys the most amazing content this side of YouTube. We got a lot to talk about. Anyways, hopefully we're doing well. I'm waiting on a DoorDash order, so today will be a lot more chill than usual. I'm very, like I said, I'm very tired, so I might not talk as much, but that's alright. That's a-okay. Anyways, I hope everyone's doing well. Switch my chat and get the game started, and we will get started with the episode. Just boot there. Anyways, sorry about the lack of episodes. You guys, as you guys know, I've been trying to get my medication refilled, and they are taking forever on that, so I've been a little out of commission, I'll be honest. I've been a little out of commission, but we're gonna give it our best shot today. Anyways, lots of stuff going on in the news. Let me go down to... Wow, it's honestly kind of crazy. Without my meds, I'm kind of like at a loss for words, which is very rare. Very rare indeed. Anyways, let me get this started. Gosh, am I awake enough to even do the show right now? That's the real question. That's the real meat and potatoes here, ladies and gentlemen. I did order some energy drinks, so hopefully those will revitalize me. But I think we'll just get started with the show right away. Because like I said, it might be a shorter episode today. This because I'm so damn tired. Anyways, news-wise, we'll be talking about PBS NewsHour, obviously, and then President Trump delivers a special address to the World Economic Forum. Wonder what he's going to talk about there. Anyways, let us get started. Shut off the OBS here. Oh, you guys are seeing a black box. That's no good. Change it to Windows 10, get it going there. That's not what we needed to do. That's also not what we needed to do. Oh, jeez. I am tired. Alright, we got Brave up, though. This is the wrong Brave browser, however. Anyways, if you guys are enjoying the stream, please remember to like and subscribe. I know it's a little shoestring today, but we're trying. We're trying, okay? Anyways, let us get Brave up here and we'll get started. It's the wrong window capture. Always good to have that. It's like a buffer. Anyways, let's get started. Oh, sorry guys, I do not mean to be yawning.
Good evening, I'm Amna Nawaz.
Let's go!
Jeff Bennett on the NewsHour tonight. President Trump intensifies his threats to take over Greenland as Europe weighs retaliatory tariffs.
In Gaza, families dig through rubble with bare hands as the search for loved ones goes on.
And the major expansion of family detention by immigration authorities raises fresh questions about Trump administration policies.
We see a lot of problems with just basic health, basic access to basic needs.
Major funding for the PBS NewsHour has been provided by the ongoing support of these individuals and institutions, and friends of the NewsHour, including Kathy and Paul Anderson, and Camilla and George Smith.
We love Camilla and George Smith.
On an
They're
American Cruise Line's
chads.
journey along
the American
Columbia
Cruise
and
Line.
Snake
Go
Rivers,
check them out.
travelers
They
can
support
retrace the
public broadcasting
customs
people.
and cuisine.
And with the ongoing support of these individuals and institutions.
Shout out to John D. Catherine and MacArthur.
This program was made possible by the
Oh, God,
contributions to your
reading is gonna
PBS
be a
station
whole
from
other
viewers like
issue.
you. Thank you.
My dyslexia is real bad when I don't have my
Welcome
meds.
to the NewsHour. President Trump today sent mixed signals on his threats to take over Greenland ahead of meetings with European allies in Davos later this week. After inflammatory messages posted online overnight and this morning, President Trump, while speaking to reporters at the White House this afternoon, seemed to signal a deal could be reached.
Meanwhile, European leaders already gathering at the World Economic Forum are forcefully pushing back against the president's new tariff threats and his insistence that U.S. control of Greenland is a national security imperative. The president departs tonight for Switzerland and some high-stakes meetings at an uncertain moment for the transatlantic alliance.
Look at
In
that, they're
Zurich,
burning the
Switzerland,
American
protesters
flag.
set the U.S. flag ablaze before President Trump arrives in Davos for the World Economic Forum, where leaders of American allies today pushed back on Trump's new tariff threats if Europe refuses to back his Greenland takeover. From Canada,
we stand firmly with Greenland and Denmark and fully support their unique right to determine Greenland's future.
to the European Union.
First principle, full solidarity with Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark. The sovereignty and integrity of their territory is non-negotiable.
French President Emmanuel Macron
God,
confirmed
look
French
how badass he looks. This is the leader of the free world right here. Look at that Chad with the sunglasses. I mean, come
troops
on,
would be
people.
sent to Greenland and warned against giving in to Trump.
We must not give in to the law of the strongest or to intimidation tactics. We must move forward. We must not yield to the dictates of the strongest. We must defend our interests, but also our principles.
And Greenland's Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen worried about the impact of U.S. military action.
This leader from the other side has made it very clear that it is not ruled out, and therefore we must of course be prepared for everything. But we must emphasize that Greenland is part of the Western Alliance, NATO, and if there is further escalation, it will also have consequences for the entire outside world.
He believes that Greenland is essential.
Already in Davos, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent urged European leaders to, quote, have an open mind.
I tell everyone, sit back, take a deep breath, do not retaliate, do not retaliate. The president will
Do not retaliate.
be here
What a stupid
tomorrow, and
message.
he will get his message across.
But a slew of overnight messages from
One moment, I'm gonna adjust some things over here. There we go.
Trump, shared on Truth Social, have already set the tone for his visit. Posting just after midnight, Greenland is imperative for national and world security. There can be no going back. At 1:38 a.m., Denmark and its European allies have to do the right thing. And today, if I didn't come along, there would be no NATO right now. Trump also posted screenshots of private
Like a
signal
big
messages from
baby.
French President Macron and NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. And this
Dude,
AI-generated
he's straight up
image of
posting.
himself and world
He's
leaders in the
posting
White House
chats to
with a
Maine.
map.
Trump is not doing well. He is posting chats to Maine. That's not something you typically do, you know? I think he is not doing well mentally, honestly, dude. Especially when you share an image like this.
Showing the U.S. flag covering not just Greenland, but Venezuela and Canada as well.
These are accomplishments.
For allies trying to anticipate Trump's plans, the president in today's White House briefing had few details to share.
How far are you willing to go to acquire Greenland?
You'll find out.
But signaled a possible deal ahead in Davos.
So
You'll
I
find
think
out.
something's going to happen that's going to be very good for everybody. I think that we will work something out where NATO is going to be very happy and where we're going to be very happy. But we need it for security purposes. We need it for national security and even world security. It's very important.
For perspective now
World
on how President Trump's
security.
rhetoric
Think
could
about that.
fundamentally change the NATO alliance, we turn to Robin Niblett, a distinguished fellow and former director at Chatham House. That's a global policy think tank. Robin, welcome back to the NewsHour. Thanks for joining us. We should note you were already in Davos. The president, of course, will arrive there tomorrow. Tell us about what it's like there on the ground. And do you believe that President Trump and European leaders can have productive dialogue on the issue of Greenland?
Well, it's made it Davos more febrile than usual. It's always a febrile week, a lot going on, a lot of competing debates. But with most of the US cabinet descending and some of them already participating in dinners this evening, and I mean, this remarkable build-up to this Davos, with, as you noted in your lead-in here, the tweets and the comments about European leaders, people are literally just punch drunk at the moment. I think they're punch drunk, but to your second part of your question.
Happy belated birthday. Thank you, Dylan. Good to see you, man. Good to see you.
There is a sort of, we've got our backs to the wall and we're not going any further type of feeling to the European leaders that I saw speaking today and that you reported on as well. I think, we'll see whether President Trump can.
Trump is the best president of all, says Markov. Shout out Markov. Reminds me of the Skyrim city of Markarth. Little hint for the next game I'm gonna be playing. Trump 2032. Whee-hoo, says Sean.
Or not, he has a kind of animal instinct of how far he can push people. But for most of these European governments...
Dude, Trump isn't going to be alive by 2032. I hate to burst your bubble, but that man is not a beacon of health.
The idea of compromising on Greenland's sovereignty and the sovereignty of the Greenlandic people in return for a sort of 19th, early 20th century return to great power, hemispheric politics, is non-negotiable. So there might be a deal out there, but Donald Trump would have to climb back somewhat from where he's gone to.
So what do you see happening from here? I mean, we saw President Trump threatening new tariffs, right, if Greenland, or rather if European allies stand in the way of him acquiring Greenland. We are now seeing some European leaders say they could retaliate as well. Are European leaders aligned on that approach?
I think there's a great nervousness about retaliating with trade measures. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent kind of warned European leaders today here in Davos, don't do it. It was a slightly plaintive cry, please don't do it. He'll be here soon. You can talk to him. He's got a plan. So I think instinctively there's a desire not to do it. When the reciprocal trade battle came to a head in July of last year, a deal was done with the United States, which basically gave European nations a 15% tariff rate, which was amongst the best globally. And Europe, in return, offered to take some zero tariff rates for some American products. We didn't match them at all. The view being we need America at our side for the war in Ukraine, still to this point. There's nothing to be gained by escalating with Trump. So where we're at right now is I think they may decide to push off approving the deal. The Europeans had not yet ratified the deal. The European Parliament, the EU's Parliament...
Yeah, his very own trade framework he threw into harm's way by threatening Greenland. I mean, this is just incomprehensible politic.
To do that, to come into law. They have not yet done it, despite it being sort of agreed back in July last year. So I suspect what they'll do is not approve it while Greenland remains in doubt, but at the same time not have retaliatory tariffs that they were planning last year. They're going to try and find a holding pattern and wait and see, as Scott Bessent recommended, what President Trump is going to bring to Davos.
So, Robin, you've got sort of a rising U.S. threat of military action in Greenland. You've got rising tensions over potential trade war with EU allies here. What does all this mean for the NATO alliance? I mean, can NATO excommunicate one of its members?
Well, can it? Actually, I don't even know the legal answer to that. I know there is a legal answer to it, but I think the idea of excommunicating the top leader, I don't want to take the religious analogy too far, but like the disciples excommunicating Jesus, I mean, would be a hell of a step. So no, I mean, that isn't going to happen. I think European leaders are trying to look to the long term. What they don't want to do is to allow a sudden or extended collapse of the relationship with the Trump administration to define the future of a NATO alliance that they believe is going to be critical for their security against a very revanchist Russia.
By the way, if you guys are enjoying the stream, please remember to like and subscribe. I try to do a show every day where I talk about the news and politics. It's a little slower today because I don't have my medication, but Trump is hurting America by not arresting Democrats and their terrorist agitators on the street. Why would you arrest Democrats? That sounds like political persecution. Do you want political persecution? Lock and loaded. 9367.
Into the future, well beyond the time of this Trump administration. So on the one hand, they're trying to sort of buy time, but not just by sitting back and hoping the past will return. They're buying time by investing in defense, including investing in Arctic defense, buying American defense equipment, raising their defense spending levels, taking security seriously, looking after Ukraine themselves, which they've been doing this past calendar year, and hoping that by demonstrating this to Trump or to a post-Trump president, that the alliance could actually be stronger in the future than it is right now. So they're trying to turn this moment of emergency into something that could be more positive for the future.
So in the minute or so we have left, I want to ask you, I know we're focused on Greenland right now, but we should also note the president has previously threatened retaking control of the Panama Canal, for example. He's now also threatening Canada being acquired by the U.S. as well. As we mark year one of his second presidency, what do you take away from where the president's words actually meet his actions?
Well, that's a very difficult question. I still sense there are more words. Look, you can't deny what happened in Venezuela. although again, the end result of Venezuela is yet to be seen. You can't.
Democrat leaders, leftists absolutely advocate dishonest equivalence between Republicans and Nazis. Well, they're pretty similar, man. I hate to tell you, but your party is pretty similar to the Yahtzee party in a lot of ways. I'm not saying the Republican Party, but this MAGA curse really is.
Deny what has happened with the tariffs, even though I think Europe can live with 15%. A lot of the peace deals have ended up being temporary at best. Cambodia, Thailand, the Democratic Republic.
I mean, you guys were really trying to turn Charlie Kirk into your Reichstag fire. You guys notice that? They were really trying. Unfortunately, the American attention span is not that great. So they all kind of forgot about Charlie Kirk's. But you guys were trying. You were trying.
Though they're not yet resolved. Gaza was still not out of phase one. I think people are wondering in Europe, does he have staying power? He's definitely started his second presidency looking for a legacy. Our worry in Europe is that he sees Greenland as his legacy. It's real estate, it's big, it could have minerals. And we're worried that the hemispheric
How are we shutting down public discourse? What are you talking about? If anything, that's Donald Trump by sending in the National Guard and all that. The left are literally terrorists and authoritarians. Okay, you can say that, but you actually need to bring proof, and the proof you're saying is shutting down public discourse, which I've never seen anybody do, and attacking political opposition. And you guys seem to have forgot about the abortion bombings, but those did occur.
Ambition is going to affect our security, because if Greenland falls in some way, or if he really applies pressure to it, it's a terrible example to Russia, to China, and to others. So we're worried, but we're hopeful that, a bit like in the first administration, he won't go all the way.
Robin Niblett, former director at Chatham House, joining us tonight from Davos.
One moment.
Robin, thank you for your time. It's good to speak with you.
Thanks, Hannah.
Order real quick. All right, I have to get up and get. We voted for this. I don't care, you worthless fucking Dem. Think about it. Well, I think you do care because you're talking in my chat. Abortion bombings 40 years ago? Yeah, those still happened. What about Melissa Hortman? Is that an example of left-wing violence? I don't think so. Hold on, I gotta go get my order. I'll be right back, guys.
We start the day's other headlines in Minnesota, where federal prosecutors have issued subpoenas to at least 5 officials amid a federal immigration crackdown in that state. The DOJ is seeking documents from Governor Tim Walz, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, St. Paul Mayor Cully Herr, State Attorney General Keith Ellison, and Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty. All are Democrats. The subpoenas mark an escalation of a federal inquiry into how Minnesota's leaders have responded to federal enforcement efforts, especially in Minneapolis. In a statement, Attorney General Ellison called the subpoena highly irregular, adding that Trump is weaponizing the justice system against any leader who dares stand up to him. The scope of President Trump's Board of Peace is looking broader than first expected, with invitations going out to dozens of nations. The group is meant to oversee the next phase of the Gaza.
Originally, I was dead, but now I have been brought back to life by the Monster Zero Ultra energy drinks. Oh, God. Don't ask for empathy. You can't have empathy for your own child. Children at their most innocent? What the fuck? What type of weird fantasies are you having, Gaga Nizula? BLM did not burn half of the country down. Come on now, man.
A ceasefire. Among those invited, China, as confirmed today by a foreign ministry spokesperson, and Ukraine, according to President Volodymyr Zelensky. That's in addition to Russia.
If you want to be that extreme with your messaging, then I'll just say that the MAGA curse literally tried to have an insurrection happen on January 6th. Trump was almost assassinated. The left yelled about him missing. I did not say anything about that. What are you talking about? I feel like you have this this idea of what a leftist is in your head, and it's totally not true. You know, I don't hate all Republicans. I just don't think they have a functioning party right now. But if there was a functioning Republican Party, I would have no issue with them. You guys seem to really hate Democrats, and I don't hate Republicans. I think that's something you need to study and look into.
Being offered a spot. None of those leaders have said whether they'll join, but notably, Norway has declined the invitation for now, saying it undermines the principles of the United Nations. Belarus, Bahrain, and the United Arab Emirates have all formally accepted invitations. Ukraine's President Zelensky says 1 million households remain without power in the capital, Kyiv, following the latest Russian attacks.
This is so
Air raid
heartbreaking.
sirens rang out last night as Russian forces launched more than 300 drones and missiles. Kyiv's mayor says the attack knocked out heating for nearly 6,000 apartment buildings, even as the country endures one of its worst winters in years. After the strikes, Zelensky said he won't travel to the World Economic Forum in Davos as planned, that is, unless the U.S. has documents ready to sign on security guarantees for Ukraine. In Australia, lawmakers there passed a new hate speech law today, plus gun control measures just over a month after a mass shooting at a Hanukkah celebration killed 15 people.
Order. There being 38 ayes and 26 noes, the matter is resolved in the affirmative. I call the clerk.
The laws create new restrictions on gun ownership and broaden hate speech restrictions to allow certain extremist groups to be outlawed. Authorities say the father and son gunmen were inspired by the Islamic State group. Australia's Home Affairs Minister told lawmakers that under the new restrictions, neither would have been allowed to possess firearms.
The tragic events at Bondi demand a comprehensive response from government. The fewer legal firearms in the community, the less opportunity there is for them to fall into the wrong hands, including potential violent extremists and serious organised criminals.
Australia's Conservative opposition argued that the new legislation could infringe on free speech and criticized the way it was rushed through Parliament. Lawmakers returned 2 weeks earlier than planned to address the massacre, which was the country's deadliest shooting in nearly 3 decades. Vice President J.D. Vance and Second Lady Usha Vance are expecting their 4th child. They made the announcement on social media today, saying their baby, a boy, is due in late July. They said the Second Lady and baby are doing well. Usha Vance is the first sitting Second Lady to be pregnant while in her role. The couple's 3 children have often joined them for official appearances and trips. Netflix is revising its $72 billion offer for Warner Brothers Discovery in a bid to fend off a hostile takeover effort from Paramount Skydance. Netflix is now offering all cash for the company's streaming and studios businesses. The 2 companies said today that the revised deal simplifies the offer, providing more certainty for Warner Brothers stockholders. Warner Brothers shares ended about 1% lower today. As for the broader market, Wall Street
Amen. Hey, what's up, Savage Cactus? How you doing today?
sank today amid concerns over President Trump's tariff threats over Greenland.
Yeah, the markets are not doing great after these Greenland threats.
Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped nearly 900 points. The Nasdaq fell more than
That is fucking insane. Look how much that dropped
the Dow
by.
Jones Industrial
By almost a whole 2 percentile points. Wow. That is bad.
average
for
dropped
Donald
nearly
Trump.
900 points. The Nasdaq fell more than 550 points on the day. The S&P 500 posted its biggest decline since October. Meantime, the Indiana Hoosiers are basking in the glow of victory. National football
cares.
capped off an undeniable turnaround victory in winner.
That just out of the banner.
Will hold a champion. Still to come on the news.
Wow.
Implications. A conservative legal scholar weighs in on the
They are destroying America. I totally agree. I think his his ideas about like Greenland are really destroying our credibility on the world stage. The way he's threatening our allies is just so embarrassing. You know, these alliances took decades to build up, and how he's just unilaterally destroying it is kind of embarrassing. The Dow is back up today. Oh, I wouldn't. I don't know. I think Trump just had a speech, so who knows what the stock markets will be thinking about that.
Since he returned to the White House. And a new book examines a college admissions.
I'll check back later. Well, thank you, Savage Cactus. Don't forget to like and subscribe because it does help out the channel and gets me boosted out there. But thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Sorry, it's a little lower energy today because I don't have my medication, but I try to bring you guys a show every day where we talk about news, politics, and so much more.
Scandal that exposed racial inequalities in U.S. education.
This is the PBS NewsHour from the David M. Rubenstein studio at WETA in Washington, headquarters of PBS News.
Food contaminated with worms and mold, limited access to clean drinking water, inadequate medical care. These are a few of the allegations made by migrant families in recent court documents about their children's conditions while in ICE custody.
Mold on your food? That's fucking disgusting.
As part of this administration's crackdown on immigration, President Trump has restored the practice of family detention, with more than 1,700 children in custody since family detention centers reopened this past spring. Becky Wallesen is a senior lawyer with the National Center for Youth Law and joins us now. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
President Trump says the border is effectively closed. If that's the case, how are these children and families still ending up in custody? Who are they?
So we've seen a lot of different trends happen since they first reopened family detention in April. But now a lot of families are being arrested from the interior of the United States. So these are your neighbors, your friends, your kids' friends who are being picked up in a lot of different ways, really from across the country.
And you've been inside the South Texas Family Residential Center in Dilley, where families are being held. Your organization has sued the federal government, alleging inadequate food, medical care, education, and safety. What were the most striking examples you witnessed that illustrate those failures?
Well, there are really profound problems with basic needs like food and water. So we have seen and heard a lot of things about children not getting child-friendly food, not being able to eat what's offered. As you mentioned, people reported vegetables that were moldy or had worms in them.
Ew, what the fuck? Broccoli and cauliflower that's moldy and had worms.
People have gotten sick following meals. And there's really not food that's appropriate for small children. So for example, one mother told us that in order to try and get her child to eat anything, she had to suck the sauce off each piece of pasta to try and get him to just eat some kind of plain meal that's not the Teddy Grahams and juice that's available.
For our viewers who might be unfamiliar, what are the minimum legal standards required when the government detains children and families?
So under the Flores Settlement Agreement, there are some basic requirements for detaining children, and those are based on the settlement when it was created in the 90s. And so children have a right to safe and sanitary conditions, and they have a right to be treated with a particular attention to their unique vulnerabilities as minors. That's the Flores Settlement Agreement. There are, of course, other requirements and constitutional requirements in terms of detaining anybody, including children. But Flores sets a very basic floor on the conditions.
And how do the current conditions compare with previous administrations? Is this a long-standing problem, or is this specific to the Trump administration?
Family detention was not being used for many years before it began again in April. And so in previous iterations, there were very similar conditions issues. And one of the biggest problems is that In 1997, the standards were what the consensus
Trump
was.
2036, yeah, I know. That's cope. This man is not going to be alive that long.
Child welfare at that time, and now we understand and know so much more, and we know that the detention of children of any kind is really harmful. And so what we see is that as kids are in these prolonged restrictive settings, they really begin to deteriorate. They have regressions in behavior. One mother explained that her previously happy toddler was starting to hit her and hit himself in the face because he was so distraught over the conditions in which they were living. We've just seen otherwise really well-adjusted kids really devolve into concerning, just constant sadness, nightmares, crying every night. One teenage boy described to me, I mean, a big kid, he was maybe 16 or 17, that he cries every night when he goes to sleep in the detention center where he's held with his father.
Jesus.
I would say one other deeply, deeply concerning thing that we've seen in this iteration is really concerning medical conditions. So children are not getting the care the medical care they need. A lot of people are coming in with dangerous chronic medical issues that are not treated or are incorrectly treated. For example, one regular childhood illnesses become very dangerous in detention. So one child had an earache that turned into such a severe infection that she experienced hearing loss, and she really wasn't treated for a long period of time. And then when she finally was treated, the antibiotics they gave her were extremely strong and caused her a lot of distress. And so we see a lot of problems with just basic health, basic access to basic needs.
This is so embarrassing for the administration and just America in general to be holding these people like this.
And on average, how long are these children and these families held in these conditions?
We've seen families being held for longer and longer periods of time. And so, most recently, according to the data that we get, we've seen several, I would say dozens of families and children that were held for more than 80 days. And so these kids are spending months in detention in these horrible conditions.
Well, the Department of Homeland Security did not respond to the NewsHour's multiple requests for a response to the allegations about the conditions at Dilley, but in court documents filed last month, the administration wrote, quote, "ICE's actions exemplify a model of regulatory compliance and humane care." How do you respond to that claim?
It's just not true. They are not complying with the Flores Settlement Agreement. They're holding children for extensive periods of time. The conditions are not meeting those basic requirements, as mentioned, not just because of the food. The water is problematic. Often the water containers have mold or algae in them around the facility. The lights are on all night. Children can't sleep. There are constant interruptions. They don't have access to school, which they admitted in their most recent filing. And in fact, there's so little to do there that it makes it all the more difficult for children to even cope with the situation in which they're being held.
To what degree is this by design to get migrants to self-deport?
I think it's very evident that none of this is necessary to carry out the immigration laws and policies, regardless of what they are. Many of these families were arrested while complying with various different forms of immigration requirements. And I think that makes it very clear that the goal is cruelty, and the goal is to make people who came to the United States often seeking safety and security to flee the United States for the countries where they felt so endangered that they had to leave.
Isn't that sweet? Isn't that what every American thinks of when they think of their United States? So embarrassing.
And I think we're seeing that many families really cannot tolerate the level of harm that is being imposed on them by the government and are in fact leaving.
Becky Wallesen with the National Center for Youth Law. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
The National Standards of Care for Immigrant Children in the U.S. Detention was established in 1985 after 15-year-old Jenny Flores reported inhumane detention conditions.
Today, Israeli authorities took an unprecedented step and began to bulldoze the United Nations main office for Palestinian refugees. Israel had banned it from the country, accusing it of being complicit in Hamas's terrorism and governance in Gaza. President Trump today said the Board of Peace...
By the way, thank you guys so much for the likes and the subs. I know I'm a little more tired today, but I still really appreciate you guys so much.
Trying to run Gaza might replace the UN, though he said the UN needed to continue its work. But if the U.S. is hoping to give Palestinians a better future, in Gaza it feels a long way off. Nick Schifrin and our Gaza producer, Shams Odeh.
Hey, what's
this
up,
look.
Juiced
One
Boy?
man's
How you doing today?
desperate search for his deceased family. And a warning, images in this story are disturbing.
Today in Gaza, Palestinians often don't go home to live. They go home to find the dead. Not with cranes or bulldozers, which aren't available, just shovels and bare hands, and an unbearable weight of grief. Mahmoud Hamad walks down to where he used to live, where he lost everything. He survived what he says was the Israeli strike that destroyed his house and stole his world.
I am standing outside of this house to say that what happened to me has happened to every Gazan. My house, like the whole area, was targeted by a huge fire belt.
He moves slowly, digging debris carefully, because he is looking for all of his children, his wife, Samar, and the unborn baby he'll never meet.
Jesus,
she was pregnant.
that's
When we were in school, she was in her 7th or 8th month of pregnancy. I graduated with her from the university, and she graduated.
Power nap, now seeing your stream to get up. Hey, hell yeah. Well, today's going to be a little bit shorter just because I do have to do some errands after this, where I hope to finally get my medication if my pharmacist gets back to me by then. So hopefully I'll be up and at 'em tomorrow.
Top of the class with distinction. We promised to complete a master's degree and doctorate and stay together, but she passed away. May God honor her.
His screen cracked, but his memory crystal clear. His kids, Mohammed, Gaith, Jana, Judy, Ismail. And so goes the story of Gaza, once one of the most densely populated parts of the planet. Today, much of it a moonscape, with thousands buried underneath. Palestinian health officials say more than 70,000 were killed, including more than 450 even after the October ceasefire. Today, 3-month-old Shaza Abu Jarrah died of hypothermia, the 9th child this winter who Palestinian health officials say was killed by severe cold. And the UN says more than 80% of Gaza's buildings are destroyed. In the war launched after
How was your birthday yesterday? It was good. I had a good birthday. Just a chill day. Started up a new game of Morrowind with Tamriel Rebuilt. So that was really fun.
Hamas's October 7th terrorist attacks, the deadliest single day in Israeli history. Israel blames the damage on Hamas's use of civilian infrastructure. Since the ceasefire, half of Gaza has no Israeli troops, but also no reconstruction. Gazans like Hamad Aslim can walk freely. He, too, is looking for his buried family by hand. All he finds, children's blankets and clothes.
We try and try, hoping that God will help me get any of them out so they can be buried. I don't know how to describe the feeling of having my whole family under the house.
Oh, guys, we got some breaking news. The Supreme Court seems inclined to keep Lisa Cook on the Fed board despite Trump's attempts to fire her. Huge win for democracy right there.
Being unable to get them out. I've appealed to the whole world, hoping that this new Board of Peace will stand with us and look after us.
We just created the Board of Peace, which I think is...
Thank you. I love Morrowind. It's a fun game. Honestly, I think it's... I won't give you guys too much, but I think it might be the next game on the Gamer Box.
Going to be amazing. I wish the United Nations could do more. I wish we did.
The Security Council-endorsed Board of Peace will be chaired indefinitely by Donald Trump and is designed to oversee Gaza's future and
Oh,
make
hell
decisions.
yeah. The fucking president of peace right there, ladies and
that will
gentlemen.
lead to reconstruction and new governance. But today, that better life is just a promise. There is first trying to provide dignity in death. Mahmoud Hamad sifts through the sand. It turns out there are no bodies to find, only human bones among the rocks. He'll keep going, but he knows he's found the remains of his pregnant wife.
How did I know that she was my wife? The first thing was the room, and the second were the bones of the baby. The baby was fully formed and was in the same place.
In this place today, there was no dignity recovered. And peace is still something imagined. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Nick Schifrin.
That's so funny. He sees this horrible situation in Gaza, and Fafo says, Trump, hell yeah. Hell yeah, dude. I'm glad to know you are very excited about the deaths in Gaza.
Today, the Supreme Court heard the latest case that's testing the limits of the constitutional right to carry a gun in America. As William Brangham reports, today's argument centered on one strict state law aimed at preventing gun violence.
Today's argument centered around a political clash over a Hawaii gun law. In that state, gun owners are prohibited from carrying firearms on private property that's open to the public, such as hotels, beaches, or stores, unless the property owner explicitly permits it. Otherwise, no
or
guns
churches,
allowed.
That might
Three
be an
gun-owning
example.
residents challenged that law, saying it goes farther than the legal limits about where the government can bar firearms. So for more on today's arguments, I am joined now by Chip Brownlee. He's a reporter with The Trace, which is a nonprofit news organization that covers gun violence. Chip, thanks so much for being
Did
here.
I even say anything? Dude, you literally said Trump muscle during a segment about the deaths in Gaza and some poor guy trying to find the remains of his mother, his wife and his unborn child. And you were like, and now you're clutching pearls. Oh, dearie me, I never said anything about that. Like, maybe look at the context in which you're sending that.
Let's talk about this Hawaii law. Let's say I'm a concealed carry permit owner in Hawaii. I want to go to the beach or a mall. The law says what?
The law says that you would have to get permission.
Yeah, you
from
know what
the
you were
owner of the-
doing, Fafo. Like, you know exactly what you were doing. Don't tell me to shut the fuck up. I don't bow down to nobody, okay? I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a liberal. I'm a true patriot, so I don't bow down to nobody except for Donald Trump. Donald Trump I will bow down to.
that property to bring your concealed carry gun with you there. Now, what that would look like in practice is probably the owner of such establishment.
Dude,
would
I
have-
just got into your room. That's interesting. They call it a room. I like that. Putting words in my mouth. Well, maybe pay attention to what you say first. Cry more, bitch. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Means I'm doing something
to
right
post
out
a
here.
sign saying we allow guns, or you'd have to get the verbal
Yeah,
consent
fuck
from
Trump.
the owner or the proprietor or a representative to bring your gun there. So you could imagine it being a restaurant that has a sign that says we allow guns. And this is kind of opposed to what is typical in the rest of the country. In most of the country, it's the opposite. For a restaurant to exclude guns, they have to post a sign that says no guns allowed. Or if you're going to an arena, they have to have signs posted to say no guns here. That's in the majority of the country. But in Hawaii and 4 other states, they have flipped this default to require the owner to give express permission.
I see. So is that why this has become such a significant Second Amendment case?
This really goes back to 2022 when the Supreme Court issued a landmark decision expanding gun rights across the country in a case called Bruin. And in direct response to that case, states passed these laws, like what Hawaii has, trying to effectively limit the number of public spaces that where guns are allowed. And they did this by changing the default on these private property. Now, this case is specifically about private property that's open to the public. So again, like a business. This is not about government property. This is not really about your private home or inside of your home or fenced off land. This is about private property that you can actually are invited to come to.
I see. And today, the justices, they took two very different approaches to this. I want to play a little bit of sound. First, this is Justice Samuel Alito, who is questioning the very need for the law itself.
So what then is the big deal about this statute? Why does it matter if store owners and owners of private property that are generally open to the public don't like guns? Why is it a big deal to say they want people carrying guns to stay out? Just put up a sign.
Yeah,
why does Hawaii have to have this law?
But then the court's liberal justices, including Sonia Sotomayor, focused more on the rights of property owners. Here's what she said.
Is there a constitutional right to enter private property with a gun without an owner's express or implicit consent? The answer has to be simply no. You can't enter an owner's property without their consent, correct? Express or implicit.
I know it's always a bad idea to try to handicap what's going to happen by listening to the arguments, but did you get a sense today how this might go down?
You know, if I had to guess, I would say that it's going to split down party lines. I mean, you heard from
Trump
those
is the
questions.
best president in history. Yeah, FDR, fucking all of our great presidents, they pale in comparison to the orange peel.
From Justice Alito and from the other justices that the conservatives are really seem like they're going to strike down the Hawaii law, and the liberals, perhaps unsurprisingly, seem like they're going to uphold the law. But I think one thing that this really gets at is this case could have implications for the whole country, but particularly like in a place where in Hawaii, where they have not had guns really for most of their history until 2022 when the Supreme Court changed this law, and are bringing, you know, a whole new set of guns and expectations into a state.
Why
that
do you
hasn't
call
really
him
had
your
guns.
daddy? That's so weird. Is that spade supposed to be like the butt plug you put in your ass every night that's in the shape of Trump's hair? Is that what that's supposed to represent?
That's why I think this matters to people in Hawaii. But this could have implications for the rest of the country too, because if the Supreme Court issues a broad decision that changes the gun law test again, it could have, you know, spell trouble for other types of gun laws that are not just this particular case about private property open to the public.
And this isn't the only major gun case that the Supreme Court is going to hear this term. Justices are going to soon hear arguments in a case involving the federal statute that prohibits the possession of firearms by a person who is, quote, in an unlawful...
I bet folks wish they could come back some real truth versus Kool-Aid. Well, I hope so too. I truly do. By the way, if you guys are enjoying the stream, please remember to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, gets me boosted out there.
Is an unlawful user or addicted to any controlled substance. It seems that the court now is eager to start taking up gun rights cases again.
I think one thing that's really important to remember is that for most of its, you know, several hundred-year history, the Supreme Court never really weighed in on the Second Amendment or Second Amendment rights. It wasn't until 2008 in a case called
I'm enjoying this
Heller
dream
that the Supreme Court really started weighing in on the Second Amendment. And then it went another decade, essentially, without really changing that precedent that it laid out in Heller. And then in 2022, we start getting this wave of Second Amendment cases. We got Bruin, which expanded the right to carry guns in public. Rahimi, which walked that back a little bit, and now we
I
have
am
two
not
cases.
enjoying this stream. You have too many maggots in your feed. I know, I'm telling you. I'm telling you, they are very present, ladies and gentlemen. They are. But luckily I have the amazing viewership of people like Juiced Boy, Nunya Business, Dylan, who was able to protect me from these evil people.
This term. So this really is a Supreme Court that seems more engaged on the issue of the Second Amendment than ever, really.
All right, that is Chip Brownlee of The Trace. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Today marks 1 year since President Trump took the oath of office for the second time. Over the past 12 months, the president has pushed the boundaries of executive power, challenged the Constitution, and reshaped the federal government. He's imposed unilateral...
They sure are crazy and really like you. I know, they are huge fans of the stream.
Tariffs, asserted control over independent agencies. The Department of Justice has launched investigations into his...
I really
political
do
opponents.
say it, that MAGA is usually
He's deployed
my
the
number
National
one
Guard and
supporters
active
out
duty
here.
troops to American cities over the objections of local officials. He's launched military operations in Venezuela and Iran while threatening action in Greenland. And he's followed through on his pledge to carry out a nationwide mass deportation campaign. To help make sense of all these moves, we're returning this week to guests from our On Democracy series, which explores the laws, institutions, and norms that have shaped this country.
Oh,
and the
that's
different
interesting. I might actually look into... If that's public, I would love to watch that. That seems very interesting.
Pressures they face today. Our first conversation is with Ilya Shapiro, a senior fellow at the Conservative Manhattan Institute. Welcome back to the program.
Good to be back with you.
I know in speaking with you that you believe that presidents deserve wide latitude to execute their agendas. But at what point does expansive use of presidential power cross a line into abuse of power?
Well, I don't think that presidents get wide deference just by sake of being presidents. There are constitutional limits. There are separation of powers. And what we've seen in the last year, just in terms of court cases, especially what we've seen from the Supreme Court, is that the president does get a lot of leeway in reorganizing the executive branch. He's the head of the executive branch. We'll see, I think the Supreme Court is going to rule that he gets to remove the heads of executive branch agencies. On the other hand, when the
they
president
are
tries
not going to rule that. I'm sorry, that's cope. What evidence has he seen that the Supreme Court is going to rule in favor of the Trump administration in the Lisa Cook case? That's cope. I'm sorry. There's been no evidence to show that they're going to rule in favor of the Supreme Court. That's cope, and kind of gives it away of what his leaning is.
to make his own laws or change the laws in some way, he runs into trouble. And we've seen that as well when, for example, using laws in a new way to use the National Guard in cities that the Supreme Court has.
See how he says that? Using laws in like a new way that is like totally unconstitutional.
Or with the tariff, which I think the Supreme Court is likely going to rule against him on that, although Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent has said that there are other ways of putting other kinds of tariffs more narrowly. Wish they had thought of that at the beginning.
Well, yeah, I know you ground your thinking in originalism. So where in the Constitution do you see the authority for a president to treat independent
Haters?
agencies as if they are extensions of the West Wing?
You got me.
Well, we
I'm
have
a
in the
Trump
Constitution
hater.
3 branches. The
I
executive,
suffer
the
from
legislative,
TDS. I actually suffer from a rare strain of TDS that makes it to where I have to go online and talk about it. So, yep, you got me. I do have TDS, but I implore you to still listen and take note of what your fellow American thinks about the state of the country.
and the judicial. There's no fourth branch or fifth branch for agencies that are unaccountable to anyone else. So the question is an agency kind of some quasi-legislative body, or is it executive? Because if it's part of the executive branch, then the president, as the head of the executive, should be able
Veterans hate Trump and MAGA? Amen, dude. Amen. I mean, veterans have been some of the most staunch people against the MAGA regime. Oh my God, do not acknowledge that you have TDS. You lost me now, and I was one of your biggest admirers. No! No, Nanya! No, please! I'll hide my symptoms. I'll be like one of the lepers in biblical times. Veterans here who is against the authoritarian of Trump do not follow illegal orders. Careful now, it sounds like you're trying to... It sounds like you're being a little seditious there, Nanya. Better be careful.
control it, and that is ultimately why I think the
No,
Supreme Court
because
is
veterans understand, like, what makes this nation so great. Because they've been abroad and they've seen how other nations treat their citizens. So, of course, they're going to be super against what Trump is doing with the National Guard.
to allow him to remove these agencies.
But that's not a
The Fed is
blanket of
different.
all, you know what I mean?
And as we're speaking, tomorrow the Supreme Court is poised to take up a case about
Don't
the
say
removal
that you have
of-
TDS, you only give them more fodder. I know, but at the end of the day, like, TDS is made up, so... For you to acknowledge that you have just fell into their trap. I get that, but I don't know. I just think it's a fake made up thing that they want to... How would I explain it? It's basically like telling people double think, you know what I mean? Like, that person isn't double thinking, so he has TDS. I'm a veteran. Oh, thank you, Dunya. Thank you so much for your service, dog. I really appreciate that. I know some people, you know, roll their eyes at that, but that means a lot to me, man. Dog. That you, gave years of your life for our country. That's huge.
of a governor of the Fed. The Fed's a little different because it's quasi-legislative, quasi-executive. It's its own sort of thing. And the president isn't even asserting the power to remove a governor for any reason.
I do like that comparison to the 1984, like, doublethink idea.
He says he has cause to remove Governor Cook.
A question about the politics of all this, because many of the same conservatives who used to warn against the imperial presidency now support President Trump's actions. What accounts for that? Is it just tribal politics, or is there something else at play?
Well, people change where they stand based on where they sit all the time. There are hypocrites on the left and the right. I like to think that I'm being consistent in believing that...
By the way, gang, it's weed time.
The president does have power over the executive branch, but wanting limited government overall. And so I have certain quibbles with the Trump administration in terms of policy, in terms of the scope and the growth of even taking bits
I'm a
of
girl?
private...
Oh, sorry about that, Nanya. Well, I still very much appreciate your service, and it means the world to me, dog. It really does. Like, I always wanted to serve in the military, but I know I have mental disorders that would basically not allow me to do that. So that's super cool, and it means the world to me. It really does.
Private companies for the U.S. government to own. But the nature of what we're seeing is just a difference of degree, not kind. We have presidents of both parties going back decades and even over a century that keep growing this, what's come to be known as the imperial presidency.
Okay.
It's unfortunate,
I gotta
but it's
mute
not just the president acting badly. It's also Congress being satisfied with passing the buck to the president so it doesn't have to bear the consequences of those policy decisions.
What about the DOJ investigations, the Justice Department opening inquiries and investigations into President Trump's perceived political rivals? I know you've criticized.
Now, this is one of the big things that I kind of do want to hear his opinion on. The political persecution, because this guy seems smart enough to realize that, you know, the shoe will be on the other foot someday.
Politicized prosecutions in the past. Why shouldn't Americans see this as exactly the kind of abuse of prosecutorial power that conservatives once warned about?
When President Trump was campaigning for his second term, he said, citing the lawfare against him, that he would be different, that he was going to put a stop to this politicization. And I think he's succumbed to a bit of the temptation to get involved in that with the tit-for-tat politicization, sometimes with James Comey, for example, going after the governor of the Fed,
Dude, Jerome Powell is a fucking badass, dude. Hey, what's up, KK? How you doing today? Yeah, dude, Jerome Powell has, I mean, talk about a warrior for democracy. I really do mean that.
Fed, Jerome Powell.
By the way, if you guys are enjoying the stream, please remember to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, gets me boosted out there in the algorithm.
There are excesses there, but certain investigations that the Justice Department has been criticized for as being politicized are actually going after real wrongdoing.
Hell yeah, man.
The military strikes in Venezuela that were launched without explicit congressional authorization. Has Congress become irrelevant to decisions of war and peace?
I think it has when we're talking about something other than a major war. What's a major war? Well, Iraq or Afghanistan. Something that's certainly longer than just getting in, getting out, you know, the Maduro operation in Venezuela, or even the drone strikes on the fishing boats. We've had this War Powers Act that's over 50 years old. Most presidents have paid lip service to it while maintaining that it's unconstitutional. It was passed over President Nixon's veto. President Clinton had a longer than 90-day excursion into Kosovo, into the Balkans, without congressional approval.
Okay, but that was different. We can all agree what was happening, like something needed to be done, or else there would be a genocide, unlike, you know. We can all agree that that had to happen, you know, and I feel confident that Congress would have voted on that. But you know, I do see where he's coming from.
Nothing happened. I think this was what President Trump is using in terms of the use of force is more minor than what a lot of his predecessors were doing.
Really?
Now that I completely disagree with him on. Maybe more minor in terms of operational detail, but in terms of geopolitical consequences and political consequences, I'd say that this is much bigger.
Certainly. President Obama had kinetic military action in Libya over several days. I mean, this is greater than what Trump has done in Venezuela, in Iran, or anywhere. Well, he hasn't done anything in Iran yet. He just gave the green light to Israel to do it, and with some assistance there. So, yeah, I think a lot of people have short memories. Clinton probably is the biggest example.
James Madison, as you well know.
But that's the thing. That was a NATO activation, was it not? We were treaty bound to do that. I don't.
The accumulation of
it wasn't an Article 5 activation, but it was a NATO activation.
Executive and judicial power in the same hands is the very definition of tyranny. Are we closer to that danger today?
If we are, it's not because of President Trump. It's because of this dynamic of Congress ceding its power to the presidency. Again, Congress is controlled by both parties. President's controlled by both parties. There's this dynamic that I think Madison missed of the incentive to pass the political buck so that your constituents who are upset you know, the congressman can then say, no, don't blame me. It's the deputy undersecretary of such and such that promulgated.
Oh, geez, we've got some cope coming from the rightoids in chat. Trump is violating the left's feelings and fragile state of mind every day. Laughy face emoji. I don't know, man. It feels like you guys are the ones that get triggered. You know what I mean? I'll give you an example. Nick Shirley, famous for his horrible video that actually proved that the right is far, far behind on the intelligence scale than the left. But in his video, or in his Channel 5 interview, there were a couple things that Andrew edited out to make Nick seem a lot smarter than he actually was. But Nick, being one of the dumbest people on the planet, cried about that. And when they released the full transcript, Nick really did look a lot dumber than he seemed in the original interview. And so if you guys cry about the fact that somebody edited your video to make you seem smarter, just imagine the videos that make you seem dumber, like this stream. I mean, I'm hurting your guys' feelings left and right, it feels like. But that's okay, because I still want, you know, this to be an open, you know, I really don't try to hurt your guys' feelings, you know what I mean? It seems to just happen when fact comes knocking.
That is hurting you. So yeah, there are definitely problems with the way our system is functioning, and I'm seeing good things out of the Supreme Court. For example, overturning judicial deference to executive agencies taking expansive power, and to presidents for that matter. You know, checking President Obama, President Biden, President Bush, and President Trump. We'll see. There's this give and take that's certainly playing out.
So is there any concrete action the president has taken so far that, in your view, you would say
Trump!
This crosses a constitutional line, full stop?
Thank you, Bill.
I think for me, the worst thing he's done legally is the continued postponement of the law requiring divestment of TikTok by ByteDance. This was a law passed with a supermajority in Congress. That never happens anymore. Approved by unanimous vote of the Supreme Court, and yet the president has 3 or 4 times now, I think, said, oh, we'll give a 90-day pause, which the law does provide for if all that's left in a deal for divestiture is the lawyers to paper it over, which hasn't happened. So, you know, this doesn't satisfy anybody's narrative, but I point to TikTok as the biggest violation by President Trump.
Heart.
The Manhattan Institute.
Mike, I swear, you get a new copy and paste, and you just paste it here. It's very enjoyable. I like Backyard Fun Country Boy, but Wyatt is not drunk now, maybe later. Well, shout out. I've never heard of them, but sounds like an interesting fella. Oh, I muted it. That is an interesting point, though. The ByteDance, you know, what's going on with TikTok? What's happening there? Hey, you know, we all heard that it was supposed to be banned and sold off, but it just hasn't happened yet. Oh, poor libtard. Little minds will never be able to comprehend anything happening right now. Haha. I'm the smartest one on side of this chat right now, says Ice Ice Baby 710. And Stuart, I mean, we already have states we need to incorporate, like Puerto Rico, so let's focus on them. I think we'll have a good voting population there that we won't need Greenland. So even then, your argument, you know, even going by your arguments parameters. It's still a stupid idea because we already have an unincorporated territory we need to turn into a state.
A few years ago, a small private school in an underprivileged black community in Louisiana,
A couple,
the T.M.
actually.
Landry College Preparatory Academy, made national headlines for propelling student after student into elite universities like Harvard and Yale. But as New York Times journalists Katie Benner and Erica Green report in their new book, Miracle Children, the school's success was built on lies and threats. I spoke with Benner and Green and began by asking what led them to look into this school.
It was very unusual because I was covering the Justice Department at the time, but Eric and I had both seen the viral videos when they were on all over social media, and like everybody else in the country, we were so excited about these students getting into Harvard and Princeton and Stanford, Yale, etc. And part of the reason we were excited about it is because they were black students just achieving the highest heights. Mm-hmm. So when I got a call from a source, actually a former DOJ source, who said that she had heard that something else was happening at the school, that there was misconduct, that there might be an abusive situation, and that the students themselves were being manipulated by their teachers to lie about their lives in order to get into these elite schools. I called Erica immediately. She was our education policy reporter. Mm-hmm. And I said, I think this is a real story. You would know better, though. You cover education, but this feels like it's the kind of story that tells us a lot about race in America.
Erica, I'd imagine with so many people invested in the school and invested in selling that story, it might be hard to get people to talk to you about it. Was it?
Believe it or not, this was a rare case in my career where we had droves of people ready to talk about it. And that is what gave us this sense of urgency. There were families who had, collected stories about what was transpiring in the school over a few months. They were prying information out of their children that was very disturbing. And they reached out for help in their own communities, got none, and they banded together and decided that they wanted to talk to the Times.
There's so many compelling stories in here I want to get into in more detail, but Katie, for anyone unfamiliar, just briefly, what was the fraud being perpetrated here by the school founders, the couple that ran the school? That's Mike and Tracy.
So this is a Louisiana high school, by the way, folks. I think that's important to point out that fraud happens in more than just, hey, Nilton? Sorry, Nillen, I think it is. Hi, how are you doing? This points out that fraud doesn't just happen in blue cities, you know what I mean? It happens in red cities too. Trump is God. Well, that's interesting. Is that a new religious movement you're potentially birthing into the consciousness? That's interesting.
Right. So first, I think we need to say that Mike and Tracy Landry, the founders of the school, have denied all wrongdoing. Mm-hmm. So all of our reporting in the book and the original New York Times story is based on...
This does highlight that fraud happens in areas that are not just blue cities, guys. And I'm all for going after actual fraud, but just going after a community, chump eat stick, amen. I mean, you know what I mean. But if, I'm serious about going after fraud, but just targeting communities like the Somali community, it isn't going to get fraud caught. You know what I mean? It's going to take funding for major branches like the IRS, But it doesn't seem that's going to happen. He's just confused, maybe. Maybe he was so in shock by the shine of Trump's orange skin that he mistook it for the glow of an angel.
Legal documents, court records, police records, and the interviews with students that corroborate one another. But what the students...
Fraud would be Mr. Trump getting sued. Oh yeah, talk about fraud. 19,000 times in 50 years? That's a lawsuit every 4 days? That's crazy. That really is fucking insane. I did not know it was 19,000 times.
Been forced to do was to lie about their lives.
Yeah, it's the mysterious glow.
Lean into really negative stereotypes of Black America on their college applications, to say that they had been homeless, that their parents had been addicted to drugs, and all sorts of other really terrible things, because Mike and Tracy told them that's what white admissions officers wanted from black people. They also suffered a lot of psychological, emotional, and physical violence at that school to keep them in line. For Mike and Tracy, they were making money, you know, they were charging tuition, and they had a lot of admissions offices at some of the most elite colleges in the country adoring them. And one of the things they did to keep the students in line was say, if you expose us, if you tell anybody, we will make sure you do not get into your dream school. You're not going to get into MIT. You won't get into Yale. We will rescind your application.
Erica, take us inside the mindset of some of these families. Obviously, the ones you met with who wanted to speak out about this, who were in some sense ostracized because they wanted to speak out. But the many families that some folks may look at and say, why did they let their kids continue to participate in this?
You know, for them, they brokered a deal with Mike. He said, give me your children, give me your most precious commodity, and I'm going to take them further than you ever could. He very much preyed and seized on this deficit model that has existed for decades, but he seized on their fears and their vulnerabilities.
Oh yeah, of course. We're huge supporters of PBS out here. Mud Butter. We are a huge supporter. We're actually devastated when we heard that the PBS NewsHour was being taken away. I think it's BS. So we support the PBS NewsHour in every way we can. If only MAGA listened to news funded by their own taxes, what an idea, right? Like, I think taxes are important. I don't know why people are so against them. Like, I would pay 50% of my taxes. I know that's crazy to hear, but 50% of my paycheck, if I knew that my fellow American would have a place to live, a full belly at the end of the night, and the ability to have their health taken care of, I think that's not a lot to add. I mean, 50% of my check and I get that? I think that's amazing. Tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary of Purgatory. Hell yeah. Yeah, I know, dude. We have life has been crazy since Trump's been in charge. It's been something that is, I mean, just day to day. A new crazy thing happens. I have no idea what he gave at this economic forum, and I may have to listen to it in my own time because I do have to. We'll listen to a little bit of it, but I'm hoping that I am able to get my prescriptions taken care of, but you never know.
You know, it was that they had not gone to college themselves, or they couldn't afford to send their kids to college, or they couldn't even guide them through the process. So he really did just hit, you know, every vulnerability that they had as, you know, working class, predominantly black families.
Kept confusing Greenland for Iceland? No way. No fucking way. How do you do that? How did you even do that? That's like, they're two very different islands, you know?
And a very low income.
That makes sense, though. That is like a Trumpism right there.
At the end of the day, they were seeing results. They saw the viral videos that were being eaten up by celebrities, by the First Lady of the United States. So, you know, it's not like it was, you know, just a gamble. It was an equation.
I mean, it was your article for the New York Times that blew it all up. That
claims that the U.S. gave Greenland to Denmark, which is, yeah, he's definitely, well, that's the Trumpian classic. You know, the Ministry of Truth. We don't need it when we have Donald Trump.
Attention to this. But Katie, the book really grounds it not just in what happened and in more storytelling and in more perspectives, but in historical context. Why is that necessary here?
I think that we have to understand that the country has fought oftentimes in schoolhouses about whether or not it wants to have a racial hierarchy or not.
He did keep saying we would just want piece of ice, want this piece of ice, and finally said Iceland. Oh my God. No clue. My wife's from Russia, and she's kind of just laughing at this mess Americans are in, what free country votes into oligarchy? Yeah, that's kind of, I mean, it's just sad.
Education is one of the most powerful tools to allow us to widen the circle of who
And
gets to be in
you
America.
know, to speak on the fraud for a moment, like, I'm all for catching fraud, but Donald Trump most clearly is not, as he just pardoned a woman for a second time for getting caught for fraud. That's an interesting story. But also to remind people, he cut funding to the IRS. That's who's in charge of catching fraud. And he cut funding to them. We are leaving so much money on the table by not funding the IRS. You know, I think it was for every $1 that we fund the IRS for, we get like $3 back. Think about how much money we're leaving on the table. And yet Donald Trump wants to just continue to flaunt Biden and Walt's achievements for catching the fraud in Minnesota. I mean, truthfully, think about how much money we're leaving on the table. And now the IRS is hiring outside contractors. Oh my God. Isn't that great?
American, or to close it off. And so understanding that history helps us understand why the students were making some of the choices they were making.
I was going to say, Russia also voted in an oligarchy, but like no one called Russia a free country when they voted for Yeltsin. Yeah, Russia hasn't been free for a while, unfortunately. I really hope the people get a representative government. I really do. That's what I advocate for across the board in all countries, you know? It's sad to see democracy on a downward shift right now. The Iranian protests sealed it for me when America didn't intervene after we heard 12,000 people have been fucking slaughtered by that dictatorial regime, and yet America doesn't intervene there, but we intervene in Venezuela. Like, what the hell? Problem with Russia is there's plenty of freedom out in Serbia and out in the abyss of Russia, but all the money goes to Moscow. If you mention fraud, you're going to prison. Yeah, that's not good at all.
Why they felt cut off from educational opportunity, and even why we were cheering so hard for these Black students to get into Stanford or Yale and not questioning what that says about our expectations of Black Americans writ large. You know, one of the...
That's a good point. Like, when these universities take they want success. Siberia, not Serbia. Oopsie. I should have said Siberia. My bad. I think I have a chatter from Serbia, so it kind of messes up in my mind. I apologize, but you know, I think this does kind of speak to the fact that all these colleges, they want a success story. They don't want to just take your average run-of-the-mill Black student who had a okay life, you know. They want these crazy success stories, and I think that's very sad, you know. Serbia used to be Soviet, so both. Well, Serbia has its own issues. One of our chatters talks about it, how they have some real problems with representation, like a good democracy and a strong democracy. So I always tell them I hope they get democracy in their lifetime, because I think that would really serve them. I think a democracy serves everybody well, you know? I think when the people are allowed to express themselves and truly vote on matters that mean something to them, I think that's great for everybody.
Lawyers who worked with the students said,
I'm a big believer in freedom, liberty, and justice for all. We should send all MAGA to Siberia for a couple weeks so they see how they like living the way they think they want to. Fucking men, dude. I tell people that want Christian nationalist policy, I say, go to fucking Russia, dude. Go to Russia and tell me how amazing Christian nationalist rhetoric is, you know? Or I show them the video of the people that literally went to Russia because they thought everything was too woke, and then their husband died in the Ukrainian war. Like, and now they're just a mother and children in Russia. Wow, we're lucky to have local politics. Fucking men, dude.
We have been cheering like this. Would these videos have gone viral if the students in the videos had been white and getting into Stanford? Or if they've been black and been getting into a state school? Like, what is that telling us about who we are?
Erica, what do you want people to take away from this book?
You know, I think what we really hope is that people really...
Lies and deceit, fuck you, C-word liquor, this is my country. Well, luckily, we share an amazing country where we can both disagree. So, he is alive still? Oh, he is? I heard he died. Hold on, let me look into this a little more. Because I don't want to spread disinfo. Okay, family vlogger moves to Russia. Father gets sent. This sounds like a fucking Frontlines. Shout out to Caps Lock. I thought he died, but I could be. Father who moved to Russia is sent to the front lines. Space. Well, he was promised a non-combat role. Father's Day video in June 2025 where he appeared in military gear, expressing love and hope to return home. Since then, no further updates have been released. And the family's YouTube video has not posted new content. I think he's dead, dude. I don't think he survived. Oh, Propaganda Channel says he's dead. Well, I don't know. I think he might be dead. I think he might not be alive. I'm not seeing any updates that he's alive. I think he's deceased, unfortunately. Poor guy. Unfortunately, yeah, I'm not seeing any new updates on this man. No proof, so how is he dead? How about the fact that the family hasn't uploaded a video in months? How about the fact that the last video is him saying, oh, well, shit, I was supposed to not be in a combat role, but they're sending me in a combat role. Oh, what about that? How about that fact? Yeah, I think this guy's deceased. I hate to say it. I mean, here, we'll go to recent updates. Alive? Question mark? Shared values, front lines near despite having no military experience. Yeah, I think he's dead, dude. I hate to tell you. Oh, hold on. We got a Dallas Morning News. Receive pay. Family's YouTube, a video. I'm happy that... Oh, hold on. Oh, no, this was during. The family posted 2 weeks ago. They posted 2 weeks ago, don't trust clinkers. Oh, okay, bet. Let's look into this. Hey, I want to be wrong. I would not want this man to be deceased. New home outside of Moscow. What happened to Derek Huffman? According to the family, spent 2 weeks at home this fall on vacation from the Russian army. Video shared in late October showed Huffman signing a document for his Russian citizenship. I'm happy that I'm still alive, and I'm thankful that all the Russian people who have reached out and helped my family while I've been gone. All our thoughts and feelings and journey is on our YouTube, she wrote. For understanding. In one video, Huffman said, that a drone may have killed one of my brothers, he said, before thanking Russian President Vladimir Putin. Huh. It's the dog. Well, that's interesting. Looks like he's still alive. All right, ladies and gentlemen. We're going back. He is still alive. Check Derek Huffman as alive. Well, I hope he stays that way. I don't know though, dude. That's interesting that he's still alive and kicking. Great to hear. Great to hear. I feel like the Russia government probably realized, oh shit, it would be really bad propaganda if he died. So, but who knows? Maybe he's a hardened combat veteran now. All I know is that he's not my fellow American anymore. And because of that, that loser kid catch a bullet for all I care. I hate to say that, but to be quite honest, that motherfucker can catch a bullet. If he wants to leave America because we're too woke and join our foreign adversary, that's treason, dude. He can catch a bullet. Is that too much to say? Am I being too edgy for that one? If he wants to go fight the people of Ukraine, you just said I hope he's alive, and now this. Yeah, that's a good point. He's not I made the connection that he rejected America for Russia. So yeah, he can catch a bullet. Yeah, I made the connection that he fucking hates our democracy. So sorry to say, guys, but anybody that hates our democracy and basically commits treason, yeah, they can catch a bullet. I hate to say it. He hated me for my freedoms. Think about that. I have no sympathy. Yeah, I'm sorry, dude. Like, he fell for propaganda just like you do. Well, I disproved that propaganda literally I didn't continue to run with it. When people told me I was wrong, I looked it up, and now I was proven wrong. And now I reiterate my stance. The Ukrainians was trying to let trans kids... Oh, god damn it, it's Mr. Mayhem! In sports, which is the righteous fight Putin is warring. Yeah, dude. I had to extract myself for a minute, because for a moment, of course, I want any American that loves America and doesn't want to see, doesn't renounce their citizenship and move to a foreign adversary. I made that connection. I love this country, This country's fucking amazing. And just because I disagree with what's happening now doesn't mean I'm gonna move to another country, renounce my citizenship, and fight in a foreign war against a democracy. Ukrainians want trans for everybody? That's true. That's true. They do want trans for everybody. Was I being too extra there? I feel like I was being a little too extra with that, but when I made the connection, I was like, oh, this scumbag wants to fight in our adversary's war against a fellow democracy? I don't know. This country fucking sucks. No, this country is amazing. And we have issues, but those issues can be kind of extra. Yeah, little extra. Yeah, but a good point. To leave the US and fight against Ukraine is wild. Yeah, that's something that I made the realization. And I think the thanking Vladimir Putin kind of made me like, oh, what?
To be back in beautiful Davos, Switzerland, and to address so many respected business leaders.
What does that even mean? Ukraine wants trans for everybody? They're just memeing, Natalie. They're just memeing with you. But Natalie, I will say that this country is amazing. We have a beautiful history that, I think the issue right now is that we have things like gerrymandering, which prevent us from sending actual good candidates and prevents us from actually putting forward good policy. So right now, we are in a bit of a shitty situation, but that doesn't mean it's always going to be like this. And I will say, I preach hope in times like this to where, Trump is doing a lot of bad things right now. But I think what you're going to see in our next president and our next couple presidents is a spring forward of democracy and freedoms. It's never done anything good for me. Well, I disagree personally. I think we've done a lot of good things, like the Constitution is a pretty amazing piece of paper, and its amendments are pretty amazing as well.
Friends, few enemies, and all of the distinguished.
But I mean,
guests
we
and
provide
those-
things like Social Security and things like Medicaid and Medicare, which, while the Republicans are trying to destroy it, help a huge majority of people. And things like SNAP. I'm very proud of EBT. The next president is Trump, then Junior Trump, then Bhutan, then Barron. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Too, I will say that.
And, I know it's easy to doom right now, but we do have to look for things, that are good in life. And actually go into, because it's easy to doom. I doomed the entire year Trump was in his first term, but there are good things happening. Like, look at the special elections that happened. Barron, damn you, Soros. Like, everybody voted for the Democratic. It was a blue wave that happened in these special elections. So there are good things happening, and Bill points out a great point. If we can read, That's a sign that our country is doing something right. Some places can't even read.
To this year's World Economic Forum with
Trump
truly
wants a world where we don't even have standards for reading. Trump wants a world where we don't even have standards for reading. So it could get a lot worse. It could get a lot worse.
phenomenal news from America. Yesterday marked the one-year anniversary of my inauguration, and today...
By the way, if you guys are enjoying the stream, please remember to like and subscribe. I do a daily show where I talk about the news, politics, and so much more. Today's going to be a little shorter just because I have some things to attend to. But hopefully tomorrow I'll have my medication and I'm not actually I'm kind of spacey brained right now, if you guys know what I'm
After 12
saying.
months back in the White House, our economy is booming, growth
Barton
is
Trump.
exploding, productivity is surging, investment
Reading
is soaring.
is in the Communist Manifesto, first chapter. Don't do it. Fucking men. Shit was actually better in his first term. That's probably why they thought this time it would be good, but that was just because in general the world wasn't rough at the time. Well, there were also a lot more competent people in his, he didn't have a bunch of yes men that would just okay everything he says. Oh, and thank you so much, Karen. I really appreciate that. I don't know. I think crazy behavior is going into somebody's chat in full caps locking, but I could be wrong. Maybe I don't know what crazy behavior looks like.
Incomes are rising. Inflation has been defeated. Our previously open and dangerous border is closed and virtually impenetrable. And the United States is in the midst of the fastest and most dramatic economic turnaround in our country's history.
Oh my God, look at this. Is this your political ASMR? T Brown, I know you enjoy my stream because you come in here almost every day. So don't act like you don't like this ASMR. Don't act like you don't like this voice, okay?
Under the Biden administration, America was plagued by the nightmare of stagflation, meaning low growth and high inflation, a recipe for misery, failure, and decline. But now, after just 1 year of my policies, we are witnessing the exact opposite. Virtually no inflation and extraordinarily high economic growth. Growth like I believe you'll see very shortly.
You think this is the first time? No way, T Brown. I'm sorry, gang. I've seen you. I've seen you before. We've detected you. The GDP is 5.3%. Well, GDP is always going to be pretty high. You know what I mean? Unemployment rate was an average 7.3. Well, take a look at the unemployment rate right now, my friend. It's not looking great. It's ticking up. It's going the wrong direction. And also, we're hemorrhaging jobs out of our economy. I mean, almost every month, Trump has lost jobs. Think about that. Meanwhile, Biden never had a single month of job loss.
Country has never seen before, perhaps no country has ever seen before. Over the past 3 months, core inflation has been just 1.6%. Meanwhile, fourth quarter growth is projected to be 5.4%, far greater than anybody other than myself and a few others had predicted. Since the election, the stock market has set 52 all-time high records. So that's in 1 year, 52 records, adding $9 trillion in value to retirement accounts, 401ks, and people's savings. People are doing very well. They're very happy with me. Since my inauguration...
I don't know. People are not happy with the Greenland comments.
We've lifted more...
Does he really talk for this long, by the way? Holy shit. That is a yapathon, ladies and gentlemen.
Than 1.2 million people off of food stamps, and after 4 years in which Biden secured less than $1
The
trillion.
more jobs equals the more communism. Trump is ending communism. Mr. Mayhem, god damn it, man. You gotta stop. I mean, how can I even have a show when I have somebody like Mr. Mayhem just constantly fact-checking me? I think you mean the Iceland comments? Yeah, we actually want the country of Iceland.
Dollars of new investment in our country. Think of that, 1 trillion, substantially less than that. In 4 years, we've secured commitments for a record-breaking $18 trillion, and we think when the final numbers come out, they'll be closer to $20 trillion of investment. That's never been done by any country at any time.
Weren't
not even
those
close.
revisions done by the Trump admin, though? Come on now.
Just over 1 year ago, under the radical left Democrats, we were a dead country.
I could be wrong about that,
Now
but
we are the hottest country anywhere in the world. In fact, the United States economy is on
I mean, you
pace
can't
to
lie. Biden's economy was doing great. You can't lie. Biden's economy was doing great. The Dow Jones was steadily chugging. He was able to bring inflation down from 9% to 3.4%, which, by the way, the entire world saw inflation due to the Ukraine war. So it's not like it was something it was something caused by him.
grow at double the rate that was projected by the IMF just last April. And with my growth and tariff policies, it should be much higher. I really believe we can
By
be
the way,
much
what's up with his
higher than
I
that.
mean, this is the White House official channel. It's actually closer to 30 trillion. Very true.
And this is all great news, and it's great for all nations.
Used God's name to swear. Oh, geez, Karen. I'm so sorry to tell you, but I am not a Christian. This is a pretty edgy channel. Biden should have done more, though. Well, I actually think he did a lot. You know, he brought half of the children in half of the children in poverty out of poverty for an entire year. You know, he did a good amount. The issue is we don't have a media apparatus that can highlight the Democratic wins. And some of our biggest Democratic voices, people like Hassan and Kyle Kalinske, they're constantly shitting on the Democrats. And I think the Democrats are doing a pretty good job.
The USA
You're
is
only
the
condemning yourself? Well, hell yeah. I don't know. Hell sounds like it might be kind of chill. I heard the guy that invented the AC was down there, so I feel like they've probably got the what's it called? Heat system down. You know, it's probably pretty cool down there in hell.
economic engine on the planet. And when America booms, the entire world booms. It's been the history. When it goes bad, it goes bad. You all follow us down and you follow us up. And we're at a point that I don't believe we've ever been.
Yeah, it's actually 8. Thank you very much. Come on, liberal trigger. You know it's more than 6. Now it's 10. Look at that.
We do it this quickly. My biggest surprise is I thought it would take more than a year, maybe like a year and 1 month. But it's happened very quickly. This afternoon, I want to discuss how we have achieved this economic miracle, how we intend to raise living standards for our citizens to levels never seen before, and perhaps how you too and the places where you come from can do much better by following what we're doing, because certain places in Europe are not even recognizable, frankly, anymore. They're not recognizable.
Who knew conservatives can't count? Well, you know, I just feel bad for liberal trigger because it seems like I'm one of the only people that acknowledges his presence. So, you know, I like to give a space for people like that who don't have too many friends to come in and enjoy, you know what I mean? I really wish he would come in my Discord and talk to me. But unfortunately, he just, I don't know. Host just wakes up and does live just like Carlton Marks. God damn it. How do you know my routine, man? It's like he's living inside my head, guys. Like every day I wake up and pray to the Stalin poster or the Karl Marx poster in my room that I totally have. And then he goes to this swing states like narrative, like poor guy. I think he might have, well, I don't want to say anything, but anyways.
We can argue about it, but there's no argument. Friends come back from different places. I don't want to insult anybody and say I don't recognize it. And that's not in a positive way. That's in a very negative way. And I love Europe, and I want to see Europe go good, but it's not heading in the right direction. In recent decades, it became conventional wisdom in Washington and European capitals that the only way to grow a modern Western economy.
TGDE wakes up and bangs his maid like Marx. Well, that's the dream. That's the dream now, isn't it? No, I'm more of a Lenin. I'd say. I don't know what Lenin got up to. I don't know. I'm a TGDE. You know what I'm saying?
It was through
Is that-
ever-increasing
Do you
government
research
spending,
anything?
unchecked mass migration,
Yes, I do. Just not on stream typically.
and endless foreign imports.
But if we
The
want to
consensus
do
was that
so, we
so-called-
should have a nice research stream. I think we need to have that. I think we need to have a research stream. We'll have one of those here soon. The next day I'm off, we'll have a long research stream.
All dirty jobs and heavy industry should be sent elsewhere.
Okay,
that
Misfit, I'm just gonna say, if that is a picture of an NCR Ranger from Fallout New Vegas, you need to change your profile picture, because if you're supporting Trump, you are definitely in Kaiser's Legion. Yeah, Loki, I think Trump is just saying he sees too many
affordable
brown
energy
people.
should
I
be
think so.
replaced by
as
the
well.
Green New Scam, and that countries could be propped up by importing new and entirely different populations from faraway lands. This was
But
the path
come
that
on now, man. Why are we you come in my chat pretty frequently. Why are we insulting me, man? That hurts my feelings.
Sleepy Joe Biden administration and many other Western governments very foolishly followed, turning their backs on everything that makes nations rich and powerful and strong. And there's so much potential.
Okay,
in
liberal trigger, you're saying you obviously have never played the video game Fallout New Vegas? Because I'm saying it exactly like Kaiser's Legion says it. Thank you very much. It's so sad to see the lack of knowledge some people have, you know? It's so sad. It's so sad.
so many nations. The result was record budget and trade deficit.
I'm out. Well, goodbye, liberal trigger. It was good seeing you. I'm telling you, I'll make a lib out of you someday. I'll make a lib out of you.
And a growing sovereign deficit driven by the largest wave of mass migration in human history. We've never
A gamer with political views. I know. I'm breaking the mold here.
seen anything
We're
like it.
capital G gamers out here, okay?
Quite
I don't
frankly-
want to see any gamer discrimination in my chat, all right? If I see one amount of gamer discrimination, that's an instant ban.
Many parts of our world are being destroyed before our very eyes, and the leaders don't
In
even
fact, Kaiser may have see the game really has fucked me up because now I say it like that. Hold on. We got a call from Illinois. What do you think they're calling about? All right, you are now live to 70 billion people. I don't have a 17,000 relief application. Come on now. No, I need that money. That's 17. This is fraud for sure. I'm not gonna discriminate against gamers. I'm just scared of them. You don't have to. Hey, you know, I understand the propaganda that the Anti-Gamer Association has been putting forward, but there's no need to fear
Even
gamers.
understand what's
people.
happening. And the ones that do understand aren't doing anything.
Chapter 2 of the Communist Manifesto is playing video games. That's a fact. God damn it. How did he know that? You're only supposed to see that if you have the special X-ray vision
about it.
that all communists get.
Actually, all of the so-called experts predicted my plans to end this failed model would trigger a global recession and runaway inflation. But we have proven them wrong. It's actually just the opposite. In 1 year, our agenda has produced a transformation like America has not seen in over 100 years. Instead of closing down
That's right.
energy
The Gilded
plants,
Age is back, ladies and gentlemen. We brought it back. People said, I don't like the Gilded Age. I didn't like how disgusting the factories were and how horrible the conditions were. But I said, wrong. You're wrong. Yeah,
we're
you seem
opening
chill.
them
Thank
up.
you. I appreciate that, Natalie. I do.
Instead of building ineffective, money-losing windmills, we're taking them down and not approving any. Instead of empowering
That's
bureaucrats,
great. That's great. That might be where you're seeing some job loss.
we're firing them, and they're going out and getting jobs in
Yeah,
the
it's
private
Gilded Age
sector
Electric Boogaloo out here.
for 2 and 3 times what they were making in government. So they started off hating me when we fired them, and now they love me. Instead of raising taxes on domestic producers, we're lowering them and raising tariffs on foreign
Does he
nations
have
to
like
pay
the
for the
ability not
damage
to
that
go
they
by
caused.
Hold on. Does he have the ability not to just go on the script he's always got?
In 12 months, we have removed over 270,000 bureaucrats from the federal payrolls, the largest single-year reduction in government employment since the end of World War II. Nobody
Wow.
thought that was coming, but we had no choice
That's
to make
just
a country great.
Yeah, most of those cuts, places like the IRS, which investigate his buddies, so
You
that's
can't
great.
have all federal jobs.
By the way, federal workers are they do valuable services. Did the crowd just laugh at him? Oh yeah.
We've cut federal spending by $100 billion and slashed the federal
Mentioned Kyle
budget
Kalinske. He low-key annoys me. I think Andrew Callahan is actually awesome. Yeah, I love Andrew Callahan. I think he does great work. I do think he gave a little too much leeway to Nick Shirley. And, if I was doing that interview, I would have just let him look like the fucking idiot that he is. Maybe you should get a job application. Well, I actually have to go to work here soon. So that's why you guys don't get super long streams. Although I'm considering monetizing the stream and potentially making some money off of it. But I don't know. I just kind of feels dirty to me.
deficit by 27% in the single year. It's going to go down quite a bit more from that. Driving inflation way down from the record highs of the Biden administration.
It's either teleprompter or he will talk about sharks and Arnold Palmer's dick.
month,
Yeah.
they went up and
Good
up
point.
and up. I promised to cut 10 old regulations for every.
I agree with Epic when he said Kyle is a deeply unserious person. Yeah, I do think he is just not very serious. I'm scared of a job application, though. Don't worry. Do not worry. They're not nearly as scary as they seem. I have conquered quite a few in my day.
Single new regulation, but instead I've cut.
Well, it's a good thing I'm not a commie. I am actually a liberal. Believe it or
till
not.
this point, 129
I believe in the liberal ideology of spreading wealth and creating opportunity for as many people as we can. I love it.
Regulations for every one new regulation approved. So every time they come in with a new regulation, we do at least 10, but so far it's averaging out to 129, if you can believe it. In July, we passed the largest tax cuts in American history, including
What clone is this, by the way? This is definitely not This is definitely not Trump Alpha. This clone is probably like this third iterations, I'm thinking. The first iteration clones are almost indistinguishable, but as you can tell by the droopy face pattern, this is definitely a little less. And he's not filling out the suit as much, so I think this is a Generation 3 clone. I'm what's wrong with America. See, I would never say that my fellow Republicans are the issue with America. I think MAGA is causing problems in America, but I would never say my fellow American is what's wrong with America. That's just sad to see.
No tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. We also provided 100% expensing. That's the one they like. And bonus depreciation for all new equipment and capital investments to help companies expand and shift production to America.
I really can't stand people like you on both sides. Get a damn job. I do have a job. You have no right to criticize anyone who votes when you sit online all day and run your mouth. Well, I do have a job, so I guess I fill that out. So if I have a job, am I allowed to have an opinion? Is that it? That seems kind of stupid and un-American in my opinion. And it's an American right. It's an American tradition to talk about politics and to talk shit on politicians. So I don't know, Madman. I think you're projecting a little bit.
So in love with that. They build a plant, they're able to deduct it immediately, the whole thing, rather than waiting 38 to 41 years in the old days.
Die in a year now? Yeah, he's not looking healthy. I'll give him that. Hey, what's up, Rootsy? Good to see you. Rootsy, amazing community member who I will be starting a podcast with this Monday, where we talk about all sorts of things. So look forward to that. I need to bring my blood pressure down after watching Lonerbox play Connections. Oh, how is he doing? This isn't helping though. Oh yeah, this is the war zone right now. This is the war zone.
Miracle taking place. Nobody thought it would ever be done by any country, but it's done by us. It was what made my first term the most successful 4-year term that we've ever had.
Time for some TGDE politics. Well, hell yeah.
Financial standpoint.
Connections was
and
horrible.
Now we've upped it. This is a 10-year.
I'm excited to watch back and see what he covers. 3 more years of Trump. God bless him, says Just White Boy 592. I need like kittens getting stuck into boxes or something. Well, unfortunately, I need to get a kitten cam. Maybe we'll change the loser POV to a kitten cam here soon.
Program, not a 1-year program, but you're allowed to deduct everything in 1 year. Used to be 38 to 41 years. With tariffs, we've radically reduced our ballooning trade deficit, which was the largest in world history. We were losing more than $1 trillion every single year.
You know, we're actually losing... Sorry, you guys may have just heard my stomach. I'm very hungry. Interestingly enough, those trade deals that he was talking about kind of, it seems to have evaporated with the Greenland threats.
And it was just wasted. It was going to waste.
Oh yeah, somebody forgot to change Trump's batteries for sure.
But in 1 year, I slashed our monthly trade deficit by a staggering 77%. And all of this with no inflation, something everyone said could not be done. There were a couple of brilliant people.
Hey, you know, my poor, you know, anyways.
People that actually thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was doing the right thing. Now they all think I'm doing the right thing because they can't believe the numbers.
There's no point in playing against Trump. He has the bestest scores. Very true. It's like playing against God, basically. Oh, we got some kittens here. Here, hold on. This is for my amazing community member and mod, Mirutzi. She just got out of a bad connections match, so we got a little kitten cam here real quick. Maybe this will boost the viewership. Who knows? 13 kittens show up in Amazon boxes.
We
and
thought
the
we were getting
couple
4 to
says
6
sure.
kittens, but there were 13. We were told that a litter of kittens were just born at a barn.
Who's gonna stop us if American wants Greenland? Well, there's quite a bit of people that can. You know, Europe is our biggest trading partner. You know that, right?
Really just do TNR, but we agreed to foster this time. The lady came to drop off the kittens and brought 3 Amazon boxes full of kittens. In total, she found 13
Oh
on
my
her
God,
property and
that's
2
so
nursing
cute.
mamas. Yeah. I remember thinking, how are we gonna do this?
Oh my God, look at that one. He knows. I like him.
But my fiance and I were committed, so we started.
Hi. Hello.
We both work full time, but each day before and after work, we were spending as much time as we could with the kittens.
Is this a Vicky stroller?
Each day, we pack them up in their stroller
God, why do they look so cute?
and take them out to weigh everyone and make sure that they're on track growth-wise.
Ooh, wait, they're like actually doing really good.
Ask me how shocked I am that just a white boy is white and a boy. Kittens are chapter. God, how does he know that? Mr. Mayhem, have you read the
Important to do because
Communist
at this age, they're still pretty
Manifesto?
fragile, and we needed to make sure that we could take out the
Because
ones
how
not
do you
gaining
know
enough
this
weight
stuff?
for extra feedings. You may think that we can't tell them apart, but we do. We have Sujo and Olio, we have Puttanesca, we have Sweet Little Marinara, and of course we have Mr. Pesto, who unfortunately has hydrocephalus, but is the biggest personality of the team. Gremolata, named because he's a gremlin. Finally, we have little Besky-Mela and Amatriciana. These guys are the little runs, so they get pulled out of the group for extra formula feeds to help them catch up in their weight and size. Would I knowingly foster 13 kittens and 2 moms again? I'm not quite sure. But honestly, having them around has been so much fun. Like just
I
having
mean,
them purr
how could it not? How could it not?
in your lap for 20 seconds makes all of the cleaning that we have to do. It makes it all worth it.
Amen. And that was a well-needed euphoria rush after waves of Trump and this horrible rightoid curse. How are you gonna say no though? That's a great question. Like, how can you say no to those amazing little balls of light?
Exports are now up by more than $150 billion. Domestic steel production is up by 300,000 tons a month, and it's doubling
300,000 tons a month, ladies and gentlemen.
over the next 4 months. It's doubling and tripling, and
It's gonna
we
triple.
have steel plants.
It's gonna go from 300,000 tons to 900,000 tons. Get excited for that.
Plants being built all over the country. Nobody thought they'd see
There is
that.
no cap on how many
Factory
puppies
construction
is
is
the
up by
appropriate amount of
41%,
puppies. Very
and that
true.
number is really going to skyrocket right now because that's during a process that they're putting in to get their approvals, and we've given very, very quick, fast approvals. In the process, we've made
Yeah, not a
historic
made-up
trade
number at all. Yeah, very interesting. I'm
deals
gonna
with
do some
partners covering
research
40%
tonight
of
on how well, because I see people bringing up GDP and growth a lot. So I'm gonna do some research tonight on if what are these where is he getting these
all
numbers
U.S.
from?
trade. Some of the greatest companies and countries in the world. We
I
have
can get
countries
more
as a-
people in the trunk of my car than you have in chat. Well, I would just like to say that why are you thinking about how many people you can fit in the trunk of your car? That's a little weird.
Partner too. The European nations, Japan, South Korea, they're our partners. They've gone into massive deals with us, especially on oil and gas.
Bud is actually a secret undercover big fan. That is a weird flex. I agree, Miritsi. Like, how does he know that? But anyways, Bud is a huge fan, and here's why Bud is a huge fan. He comes on every day I am on to test me, and I think he's just trying to make me a better liberal. He's just trying to make me a better liberal. So I appreciate that, Bud. He's always encouraging me to do better, you know.
These agreements raise growth and cause stock markets to boom, not only in the U.S., but virtually every country that came to make a deal, because, as you've learned, when the United States goes up, you follow. It's really become a staple. In America, I've stopped the nation-wrecking energy policies that drive up prices while sending jobs
He's
and factories.
much like Mr. Mayhem, you know? Much like Mr. Mayhem. Unfortunately, Mr. Mayhem has read every aspect of the Communist Manifesto, which I hold very dearly to my heart, you know? Totally. But has been here so long? Yeah, exactly. He's a fan. Don't worry, I know.
To the world's worst polluters. They are indeed polluters. Under Sleepy Joe Biden, new domestic oil and gas leases fell by 95%.
Peace Owl
Think of
Gaming
that.
says, "Go Trump, let's take Greenland." So let's exchange Greenland for NATO? Or let's exchange NATO for Greenland? I don't think that's a very good trade, in my opinion.
And they wonder, why was gasoline going up so fast? The gasoline actually topped $5 a gallon, and some places
Oh, Gob says we're about to check them on this. 18 trillion in new investment. Is the European deal part of that quote unquote new investment? All-time high stock markets. That's how the stock market works, you idiot. $2 gas. All right, let's just disprove this real quick. AAA gas prices. Guys, if you ever want to, disprove a MAGA that's saying it's $2 gas, just go to AAA gas prices and show them the daily average of all the gas in America. $2.07. Where are you seeing the $2 per barrel or $2 per gallon? I'm not seeing it anywhere. Maybe they've got something we don't know. Yeah, Biden increased drilling. Did you forget about that? NATO dragged us into Iraq? No, they didn't. What are you talking about?
$7 a gallon, and more than 100 major power plants were violently shut down by incompetent people that had no idea what the hell they were doing. Under my leadership, U.S. natural gas
What are you
production
talking about?
is at
Department
an
of
all-time
HCS
high
said
by
the number
far.
was 20 million? Are you talking about illegal immigrants? Because it's actually only 14 million at the start of Trump's administration.
U.S. oil production is up by 730,000 barrels a day. And last week we picked up 50 million barrels from Venezuela alone. Venezuela has been an amazing place for so many years, but then they went bad with their policies. 20 years ago, it was a great country, and now it's got problems, but we're helping them. And those 50 million barrels,
Please check me. I did just check you on your gas statement.
we're going to be splitting up with them, and they'll be making more money than they've made in a long time. Venezuela is going to do fantastically well. We appreciate
gonna
all
do
of the cooperation
fantastic.
we've been
I pay $2.50. That's not the $2 you were flouting.
giving. We've been
Google is a tool. That's just a lie, bud. Look at the AAA's gas prices here. So you're just lying, my friend. And that's not good. It's a sin to tell a lie.
Given great cooperation. Once the attack ended, and they said, let's make a deal.
Just use ChatGPT. Wow, big brain
More
strategy
people should
right
do
there.
that. But Venezuela is going to make more money in the next 6 months than they've made in the last 20 years. Every major oil company is coming in with us.
But
It's
that's
amazing. It's a
not the
beautiful thing to
$2 you
see.
were flouting.
The leadership of the country has been very good. They've been very, very smart. The price of gasoline is now below $2.50 a gallon in many states, $2.30 a gallon in most states. Then we'll soon be
$2. Now we're talking about gas with him. $2.30 in most states. In the best states, like in Kansas, in my state, it's $2.42. I mean, in the best case scenarios, it's still not quite $2.30.
averaging less than $2 a gallon. In many places, it's already down even lower, $1.95 a gallon. Numerous states are at $1.99. Numbers that
Dude, listen to that. $1.99. This guy is a fucking liar, dude.
nobody has heard for years.
Holy shit.
Actually, since my last administration, we got it down to around those numbers. I've signed an order directing and approval of many new nuclear reactors. We're going heavy into
Okay,
nuclear.
I'm sorry that the national average does not account for your one causeway that fucking sells gas at $1.99. I'm sorry.
Not a big fan because I didn't like the risk, the danger, but they have the progress they've made with nuclear is unbelievable, and the safety progress they've made is incredible. We're very much into the world of nuclear energy, and we can have it now at good prices and very, very safe. And we're leading the world in AI by a lot. We're leading China by a lot.
Portland hit $1.88 a gallon. That is just not
I
true.
think President Xi respects what we've done, in part because I've allowed these big companies building these massive buildings.
Like Jesus, you people
build their
will
own
literally
electric
believe
capacity.
anything
They're
the
building their own
retard
power
comments
plants,
tells you.
which
It'd be sad if you weren't so dangerous to the rest of us.
when added
Amen.
up is more than any country anywhere in the world is doing. I read recently an article in the Wall Street Journal that China's creating so much energy, and they are. I got to hand it to them. But we're creating as much or more, and we're letting them.
And they
do
are.
that.
They're
I'm very
creating a
proud
lot of
this.
energy. It's almost like our fucking cutting off an entire sector of our energy producing sector was a bad idea.
My idea. I said, you can't create this much energy. We needed more than double the energy currently in the country just to take care of the AI plants. And I said, we can't do that. We have an old grid system. And I came up with the idea, you people are brilliant. You have a lot of money. Let's see what you can do. You can build your own.
Yeah, watch. Like, people are like, oh, I only paid $1.99. And it's like they fucking have a gas card from Kroger. And they've been saving up points for years just for this one day where they could make gas $1.99. And they're flaunting it. They're letting the whole chat know.
Electric generating plants, and they looked at me. They didn't believe me. All of the names that are, I think, in the room right now, if you want to know the truth, they didn't believe it. And I said, no, you can't. They came back 2 weeks, and they didn't have the plant.
Yeah, his ass had a Costco card. He's been saving up for years. He's like, oh, I can't wait till the day I get my 1.99 cents. I'm filling it up. I'm feeling it up. Oh, yeah. I know these people, too. They come into my gas station. They openly talk. Oh, I'm excited. Woo-wee! That's $1 off of gas there, buddy.
We thought you were kidding. I said, no, not only am I not kidding, you're going to have your approvals within 2 weeks. I always say nuclear will take 3 weeks, but most aren't going that. They're going oil and gas. They're even going coal in some cases.
It's the same. It is the same people that talk about the Doge check and the Trump phones. I'm gonna put a whole $5 in my tank today. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because of my landslide election victory, the United States avoided the catastrophic energy collapse which befell every European
We
nation.
are, Paul. Unfortunately, we are embarrassed about Donald Trump. But I do love my country, and I do think it has a path forward. It's just, it is a wavy one, let me tell you.
That pursued the Green New Scam, perhaps the greatest
The Green New Scam.
hoax in history.
The only reason this motherfucker doesn't like windmills is because some windmills went up within his view distance in a Scotland property. That's it.
The Green New Scam, windmills all over the place, destroy your land. Destroy your land.
Average gas price in Texas is $2.41 a gallon today, but that is a very high blue state. Yeah.
Every time that goes
High
around, you
taxed
lose
blue state right there.
$1,000. You're supposed to make money with energy, not lose money. Here in Europe, we've seen the fate that the radical left tried to impose on
Oh
America.
yeah, Devin, this is all to avoid the Epstein files. I mean, it's so clear to us. And it's just sad because I would hope that the American people would want accountability for these men that abused so many women.
Okay, they tried very hard.
My cat got cancer from windmills. That is one of the big problems with windmills, actually, is that they the vibration they causes cancer. So I see what you're talking about.
Germany now
Sorry to hear
generates
that happened,
22% less electricity than it did in 2017. And it's not the current chancellor's fault. He's solving the problem. He's going to do a great job.
By the way, people think that research is like you have to fucking be deep in the like logs of like, I don't know, fucking 1940s policy. Like you're just looking, oh, I'm doing my research here. Like, what do you expect? What do you think research is, my friend? You can only look at a set of data for so fucking long before it's fucking boring. Like, I'm sorry I don't bring up data sets every day and be like, let's see what the economic growth of Mangwon County is today. Oh, it's very interesting. Trump's policies seem to be not allowing this local contractor to, is that what you want me to do?
But what they did before he got there, I guess that's why he got there. And electricity prices are 64% higher.
No, I know what you're saying, Mud Butter. It's more like the people that are like, you do no research. It's like, that's boring as fuck to do on stream, bro. You've seen how I read articles.
The United Kingdom produces just 1/3 of the total energy from
Did you
all
ever
sources
consider that
it did
Abe
in
Lincoln also thought windmills killed cat? I read it on Facebook. That's very true. That's very true. Yeah, research is whatever bullshit Elon is putting out on dum-dums to scrape off of the internet and Joe Rogan. And that's very true. A lot of these people will see like a graph on Twitter and be like, huh, that's my research for the day.
1999.
I don't have a Twitter account, guys. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people have asked me to get one, but I don't have a Twitter account. I'm sorry.
And they're sitting on top of the North Sea, one of the greatest reserves anywhere in the world, but they don't use it. And that's one
trust
reason
me.
why
Trust me, Mud Butter. A lot of them know that Lincoln was a Republican. They love to throw that in there whenever they're losing a debate. Well, Lincoln was a Republican. You know that, right? Or that Trump is actually a socialist. Oh yeah, Trump has way more socialistic policies than fucking Biden ever did. taking 10% of Intel, that's insane.
Their energy has reached catastrophically low levels with equally high prices. High prices, very low levels. Think of that, 1/3. And you're sitting on top of the North Sea, and they like to say, well, you know, that's depleted. It's not depleted. It's got 500 years. They haven't even found the oil. The North Sea is incredible. They don't.
Well, careful, Rootsy. Mr. Mayhem is quite the killer. He stumped me a couple times. You got to be careful with Mr. Mayhem because I mean, as you see, do your research and you'll find we're all run by a cabal of alien moth people. And that's just a fact that I can't deny. It's really hard for me to deny that fact because I do remember going to the alien secret cabal moth meetings and doing the rituals. So it's hard to argue with that.
Let anybody drill. Environmentally, they don't let them drill. They make it impossible for the oil companies to go. They take 92% of the revenues. So the oil companies say, we can't do it. They came to see me. Is there anything you can do? I want Europe to do great. I want UK to do great. They're sitting on one of the greatest energy sources in the world, and they don't use it.
Oh yeah, trust me, Rootsy. These people do not. They come. I see this more as getting their getting all their filthy words out so they don't act like complete fools in public, you know? That's how I see this. Trump forever. This man wants to cut off Trump's head and put him on a mecha body so we can have mecha Trump.
In fact,
it's why your home has all the lights to please Big Mouth. Very fucking true, dude.
Electricity.
Oh, we've got hours left. I'm definitely not going to finish it because I do have to head out soon, but we'll probably catch up with it tomorrow. I'll hopefully have my meds by then. Gosh, it's so crazy. Somehow they're still acting like it in public. Yeah, unfortunately, they seem to not be acting quite right, but that's okay. That's okay. Let me open this shorts Bill sent. Oh, we've got another video of you know what? I think we'll end on that because we're not getting done with the speech today, unfortunately. I just know that as a fact. Mecha Trump would be Mecha MAGA on 100% tits. I don't know about that. I think that would be quite scary, actually. But I do have to end the stream because I have to get ready for work and all that type of stuff. I know. I hate to depart you guys too, but we'll end off with this platypus getting a belly rub. Oh my god, that thing's so cute. I mean, look at that thing. Oh yeah, by the way, if you guys are enjoying the stream, please remember to like and subscribe. Really important for the channel, gets the viewability up and all that. I am about to head out, but I'll see who's live real quick, and we'll send you guys over there because I have quite a good amount of viewers today. So I like to send you guys over to content creators I enjoy. I have a feeling IRI is probably live right now, so we might send you to IRI, or let's see who else might be live. One moment, my gang. I'll put the music on. Oh, we got to get this from the very start. Oh yeah, IRI is live, so we'll go, we'll send you guys to him. Alright, my fellow soldiers. It is time to move out and continue to spread the liberal message across the wayside. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an honor serving with you today. Go check out our fellow soldier in the trenches, IRI, who fights MAGA on a daily in the trenches of, oh, hold on. I have someone talking right now. In the trenches of MAGA TikTok. So I will see you gamers later. It was fun chilling with you guys. It really was. Hey, thanks for the soldier salutes. We appreciate those. Keep your mind free. Amen. That's important. Anyways, I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm probably going to have a new game on the Gamer Box tomorrow. I think it's going to be Morrowind. So get excited for that. Black Veterans for Trump. That's the right channel for this. That is the right channel for that. You found the right channel, my friend. Have a great day, guys.